Hello there, and welcome back for another Dwarf Fortress update. So, a lot of things have happened in my Dwarf Fortress. I'm going to start, I kind of decided to tweak my formula a bit. I'm going to start at the bottom all the way up and talk about what's happened. Um, Most importantly, I've burrowed down to elevation 0. I've set up a tavern here that's not doing bad. There's a lot of random naked folk running around. I set up a little temple down here, and I'm actually going to be working on building a housing area as well, so that I have a little bit of, if I've got dwarves working down here in the future. I don't know how I feel about this necromancer. I don't know, I feel like you're going to steal something. Speaking of stealing something, haha. And then up above that, I've set up another little stone stockpile here. I've got a couple of stone workers that are going to set up shop down here and start processing some of this ore. I figured it'd be a little bit quicker to get it down to here, or rather to be processing it on site. And then just so far I've burrowed and cleared out around these areas looking for any magma or anything terrible to worry about. Elevation 7, I had found a lot of good minerals, so I've sent my folks after that. Dwarves, rather. And yeah, I've got a couple of searcher shafts built. So this will likely be an area that I get mined out pretty heavily. You can see we're still kind of mining out some of these other areas as well. Um, and this was one of the areas where I started running into the heated walls. So I've kind of abandoned in this area for now until I figure out a good way to contend with some of this stuff. Um, it's another area I kind of set this up to be blocked off just in case I run into a scenario where something comes up out of here from hell, literally. That's a thing. Yeah. And yeah, we've got this area here. Pretty much the same. I had an artifact stolen, so I also had a couple of game crashes. And one thing I will note is, in all, I had to replay this about twice, so the first and second time it still got stolen, but I caught them, and then the third time it was stolen and I didn't catch them. Um, and each time it was a different person too. So, it seemed almost predetermined I was going to have a theft by some way, shape, form, or fashion. But the results were different each time, if you will. So it was very interesting, I guess, to see that randomness play out. And I don't know if things I did tweaked how things turned out over the course of it, but one thing I can say is this area was more populated before because I had opened it up more. So maybe that's it. We got this temple here, which I think has been there. And then the next area we did a whole lot of work in, going to be in the cavern area. So we've set up a little stockpile of drink, dormitory, a dining room, and we've actually got this opened up with some fortress slots so we can fight. And you can see blood spatter already, so you know where this is going. So we had our first big invasion, and most of the battle took place right here. It was Wererats and random critters. Um, I had some pretty bad issues with my dwarves, honestly, so I told all of my people to come here, right? And instead, what ended up happening is they all rushed down in this corner and got into these little choke points. Well, at the time, I've mined some of this out now, by the way. My dwarves were getting ganged up on 2 and 3v1 because of the layout here. So basically, they engaged in a bad spot, and I didn't really have a good way to recover. And that leads me to my next unfortunate bit of news. The captain of our city militia perished, which of course was one of our fans. We've got some bad luck with dwarf fans, but I want to say, yeah. So, back to nobles real quick. Yeah, our militia commander fell, and we've got or sorry, my captain of the guard fell, so we've got a new one. Sorry, Ashley, you didn't make it very long as a dwarf. However, while we're on the screen, you're going to notice we're now a barony. So I've actually elevated, I finally agreed to the terms of being part of the main kingdom, and we've actually elevated Will Holt to be our baron. Thought that would be a good little shout out. And yeah, he's being very demanding. He wants all kinds of stuff in his estate, which we're going to check out in a minute. So, big battle happened here, and we ended up chasing stuff all like it retreated this way. We ended up chasing all back in here. Um, yeah, but ultimately we did have a lot of fighting ended up happening over here as well. There's still a lot of blood from that. So effectively I had things coming in this direction and I had things coming in this direction. Most of the fighting here, but still, you know, not really ideal. So I got to figure out a better way to do things. What ended up happening is the city militia actually arrived first and engaged almost immediately and kind of left me in a bind because city militia were not as equipped as like my stone guard, so I ended up, you know, suffering a lot of losses because of that. And moving on up here, we did a little bit here, I want to say. Yep, actually this is all pretty much the same. We just got some goodies. As I open up more taverns, I notice this one's not nearly as packed now. Got a lot of thirsty dwarves over there for taking in some ale. And we got a little bit of work going on here. We've been chasing down some patches of minerals. Got a lot of hematite waiting on us and lemonite. Lemonite, whatever what do you call it. And you can see these are a lot of my people going back after I've released them from duty. And once again, we're just going through, and I've got a lot of mining going on up here as well. And we're just looking for rare ore, which seems like we found some up here. So, yep. So pretty much kind of what I'm doing at this point is just mining out the various areas that I've got, trying to get everything squared away. And here is something new, you'll note. So when you decide to get a baron, they need an estate. And here is our estate for Will Holt. So he now has a nice, I used jet and oxide. So a nice little black and red home. Lots of engraving going on. I had to set him up with a tomb. So I had our fancy tomb here. I went ahead and gave him, so he's got a really high dollar tomb. I put a couple of statues in, and now he wants another statue in his tomb. If he wants much else in the tomb, I'm going to have to expand it. And this is his bedroom currently. Got him an armor and weapon stand, a couple of statues, 2 doors because why not, a small bed back over here, and lots of black cat treasure chest. And I'm in the process of working on his dining hall here. And I've got him a nice little study going. So still got a couple more items to do here to finish up this estate. And I've actually got a big blank area in case he has any other demands and I need some more space in these 2 spots. Anywho, let's move on up. Not a lot's happened here. I haven't found anything useful to make out of these yet. As you can see, I've got bins for days. Lots of stock of drink up here. And I think I finally expanded the hospital. I started working on that doctor's guild over here. Yep. And I need to get some tables in there, which I am currently working on. Let's see. This is a few temples I built. I can't remember if these were here last time or not. I don't think they were because I remembered building them a certain way and then having to come redo it. So I think they were captured before the crash. Or during the crash. Because yeah, first I threw them over this way. Then I changed my mind. I also put the baronial estate down here, but I decided Will would probably prefer to reside with his people. And as you can see here, we've done not a whole lot here. Still mining out some of the ore around the original tavern, the Tongue of Sax, which is honestly relatively dead now that we've got multiple taverns. Yeah, this is an interesting thing too. So all of this river freezes, but the areas that I burrowed out, just messing around, don't. So I don't know. And you can see we've got a lot of blood up here, so it's almost like I feel like at some point a couple of those creatures actually got upstairs and got over to here, but I don't know. I didn't actually witness it, so I can't confirm. There's definitely a pool of blood. Lots of blood, actually. From an elk blood and a jabber, so something got there at some point. Oh, bless you, cat. Cat just sneezed. And then moving up, you can see more tunnels going out, searching up in this area, mining some more of this stuff out. So I'm kind of in each area just mining out the goodies, getting myself situated for that. And I'm actually going over here to collect. I realize I do actually have some sand on the map. I'm going to burrow over to here and hope I can capture some sand and not have everything collapse on it. This is nothing new. I'm working on something here, which I think is going to be a guild hall. Not gonna lie, it's been a minute since I actually played, so I'll have to go back and look and see what this is going to be. It's going to be a temple or a guild hall, most likely. And got some more work going around here, so we're expanding around the graveyard. And I'm going to very slowly start building, I think I've got some plans. I like the idea of putting the boneyard over here. I also like the idea of putting coffins down too. So I might put a row of coffins in here, and I kind of figured out how those work now, so it should be fairly easy to get the tomb situated. Which, effectively, you've got to build one for each dwarf, oddly enough. And yes, folks, that will do it for our Dwarf Fortress update. You can see, oh, here's all my dead rodent men, and throwing them in the trash. Some of my dwarves ending up in the trash as well, it looks like. Yeah. As you can see, there's more rodents down here than anything, but we are going to build a nice tomb for Ashley since she perished at the hands of all these rat fellows. And it looks like you can see again, this is starting to fill back up, so I'm probably going to go along with that plan of putting all the corpses like up in this area somewhere, maybe up in here. I haven't quite decided what that's going to look like, but anyways, with that being said, folks, thank you for stopping by and checking out my Dwarf Fortress update. I'm pretty excited about this fortress. I've still got a lot of things I plan to do with it. I've kept focusing on happiness. I'm getting a lot better, I think. I've increased population, but my ratios of, sad dwarves seems to be going down a little bit. And I'm getting more of them to these levels, so I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, I eventually hope to get all of them happy, but, I've constantly got more showing up too, so that, makes it difficult. It's kind of like a never-ending thing you've got to chase, and this thing's like starved to death down here, look. Yeah, I need to go into my animals, note to self. So, anywho, oh, and I finally got rid of that beehive, so I actually just dug a hole where it was at. I had a random beehive sitting on the river, and it just, like, kept stinging everyone that walked by, so I got tired of it, and, yeah, handled up. So, anyways, folks, that being said, thanks again for watching, and just stay tuned. I'm going to be making a lot more Dwarf Fortress videos in the future, And I will probably start another. Look at that. I am totally failing to manage my animals. I got little calves dying everywhere, which could be really bad because I have plans for a lot of them. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, folks, as always, enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again for watching this Dwarf Fortress video.